You are the stories you tell yourself. Very rarely do I engage in this kind of emotional discourse. However, what I do teach is the importance of not wrestling against effect. You do not solve problems by solving the problems. You solve problems by providing solutions to the cause of the problem. And naturally, the problem melts like wax before sun. So this subject is crucial as touching life and destiny. This subject, as basic as it sounds, holds a fundamental aspect, a fundamental role. It plays a fundamental role as touching your life and destiny. So this is a cause. We are discussing causes, not effects. Cause of a problem. As I earlier articulated, you solve the cause of a problem and the effects naturally fade. For instance, the absence of finances has a lot of problems associated with it. It can damage your relationship, you can lose friends, you can lose the house, you can lose relevance, all because you lack money. Now, trying to deal with those problems individually, like trying to fix your relationship, trying to do XYZ, trying to stop addiction, which is a consequence of losing your job and losing money, would be difficult. It's like, it's akin to killing an octopus by striking individual tentacles. Before you get to tentacle 2, 4, and 5 would have crushed your soul. So you see the point. The aspect or the habit of attacking problems individually is cumbersome, time wasting, and risky. The best way to kill that octopus is to strike his head and all the tentacles drop. The best way to solve your problems is to find the cause, strike it head on, and all of the effects drop. So in this case, you are the stories you tell yourself. It opens up the concept of perception. Perception is how you see things, is how the world will shape. For instance, every single one of us have been in a situation where you said, if I get this thing, which you now have, I would feel confident or I will feel X way. Now you have the said thing, yet the desired outcome is absent. You've shifted the goalposts in and of itself. If I get this device, I'll be confident enough to speak to a lady, to approach XYZ person. Or if I get this asset class, then I'll feel like a millionaire. All you're doing is using something physical to mediate between you and the mental attitude. For most of the times, you might not get it. And even if you do get it, the mental attitude was always existent. All you lacked was the intermediary. Once an athlete crosses the finish line, there's nobody who comes to trickle dopamine in their ear or try to motivate them into feeling happy. It's a byproduct. The point I'm trying to highlight with all of this is you can motivate yourself to be happy. You can think yourself to feel the way you want to feel if X result had materialized. So the desire is the intermediary between you and the mental attitude. You'll feel a certain way if you had $1 million in your account. You'll feel a certain way if you were X height. Scratch the desire and jump into the mental attitude. The point I'm trying to highlight, and this tilts a little bit into manifestation. Once you have the mental attitude, it becomes very easy for things to gravitate towards you. So you are the stories you tell yourself. You say I'm poor, you will forever be poor. You see, I see people, especially in places like Africa, use tons of destructive statements on themselves, and mostly for the senior citizens whom, as a consequence of their demographic, education was a privilege. So they use high-end vocabulary, all kinds of limiting sentence. If I will share this story, years ago, I was in a bus, and usually here in Africa, the bus fare is negotiable. About to board off, this lady walks in and sits. As soon as the driver kickstarts the engine, a guy rushes, please stop, I have X amount and I'm going this route. Sir, your mount cannot take you that far. Please, he pleads with the driver and finally lets him on. And as he boarded that bus, he said something I would never forget. He said, not everybody is as privileged, or not everybody is XYZ prominent man. And once he said that, the senior citizens in the bus concurred. In fact, that began an entry point of a conversation till we got to the bus stop. It is fashionable to use high-end vocabularies, high-end limiting sentences like we are poor, or no, we are poor is too basic. All fingers are not equal. Those kind of limiting idiomatic expressions. The subconscious can't distinguish between what is real and a thought. This has almost become a cliche, but let me break down, let me elaborate with my infinite wisdom. The subconscious mind is objective. That's why you can think a thought and cry physical tears. What if I lose XYZ? What if I lose this person? And you're shedding tears physically. The event is far from happening. Yes, the outcome is instant. Once you understand this intimately, you would find the key to changing a lot of wrongs, a lot of narratives, a lot of ills in your life. Majority of you would come to the consciousness that you've been operating from a wrong assumption, from a poor mindset, from a limited standpoint. I'm this, or I'm not XYZ height, therefore I can't get XYZ personality. Let me share a personal story. I used to believe until I have X amount, I would act a certain way. And in that mindset, I told myself, I would never ask for help. I want to be independent. Yet, I can't recall, I lost 2.5 million naira in the stock market. So, my XYZ was tied to that amount. I reached out to a friend of mine. Yo, bro, I need X amount. Send it to me. By December 20, I've listed some shares for sale. The broker gave me an assurance. By December, it will be sold. Once it's done, I'll have you reimbursed. And quickly, it was done. I didn't think about it. So it was later I recalled this mindset of, I'm independent and I don't want to ask for help, and it all sounds stupid because now I have a lot of money. The amount requested was trivial relative to my perceived income. The point I'm trying to highlight is we operate from our assumption. We see life how we are. Previously, I would refuse asking for help because X amount was a lot of money. Make reference to yesterday's teaching. What did I title it? I can't recall, but make reference to yesterday's teaching. Oh, asking for help doesn't mean you're weak. Make reference to the teaching. It would improve your understanding. So everything boils down to perception. How you see things depends on your understanding. So once you change this mindset, it would prove beneficial to you. As always, my friends, a pleasure speaking to you. I'll see you in the next one. Before you go, from next week, I'll try as much as possible to increase the length of this content. I'm trying my best to condense it to limited time because I have a lot on my table. I have a lot literally going on. So please bear with me. In fact, the Bible says it perfectly. He who is faithful in little is faithful in large. So show me what you do with this short form content, and it would implore me to give you a longer form. The points are still consistent. The difference is the elaboration on each and individual point. I speak so much on generalization and how the world functions on generalization, but there are exceptions. There are things you need to touch on in an attempt for the benefit of every single person. For instance, if you explore the subject of depression and limit it to the mainstream advice, go to the gym, read a book, all you're going to end up with is someone who becomes a depressed, muscular man. Because yes, in general, people find purpose through going to the gym, or in the process of reading a book, they might find something striking or find something interesting that begins a journey of transformation. Aside that, the exceptions who the underlying problem is perhaps a finance issue, or purpose issue, or purpose issue, or an envy issue. A mindset needs to be corrected. They saw XYZ person drive X car. As a consequence, it began the loop of their depression. So there are various points that needs to be explored in the subject of depression. So one of these days, I would sit and give you a breakdown, every single thing you need to know about depression, ranging from the definition, and in that discourse, you would see there is no such thing as clinical depression. It's a psyop from the kingdom, from what I call the kingdom, the princes of this earth, trying to steal your mind. And once you sustain the right philosophy, remove your brain from the grill of TikTok, air it on the sun of content like this, you would be free. So for as long as that's not reality, keep watching. I won't tell you when I'll do it. It will be like the coming of Christ. I won't tell you. Now, as always, my friends, a pleasure speaking to you. I'll see you in the next one.